production side in many vertical markets. This is a testament to the long-standing success of the Xinet product, and we appreciate your ongoing interest and support. Just want to make a couple of few announcements before I hand the mic to Timo. Number one is that Xinet 19 is currently on schedule for its mid-December release. We will keep you updated on forward progress as we go. Secondly, we will be launching, sending out an infographic prior to the release, and we think this will be a valuable piece of communications that people will probably want to keep on their desktop as the new release comes out. And thirdly, I wanted to advise everybody that we will be coming out in early 2017 with an updated Xinet website. It's been a while since we've updated our content, and we think you're going to like what we have communicated as we move into the future. And last, we want to let you know that we've created a special mailbox for inquiries and questions after today's session, Xinet19@northplains.com. And we promise that we'll do our best to answer your questions quickly and completely. At this point, I'm going to hand off the balance of the presentation to Timo Faber. Timo.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everybody. My name is Timo Faber. Thanks, Jason. 250 attendees. Wow, that's a big number. That's a big crowd. So thanks from my side for taking the time today to attend the webinar. I'm really excited to walk you through a long list of updates and new features that we've implemented in Xinet 19. And I think it's best to start off with an overview of the content of what I'm going to cover in the next 40 minutes to an hour. So we're going to talk about SAML2 file sharing. We're going to talk about SAML2 based single sign-on. Those are all like really big features that we've put in Xinet 19. We've also added a new browser experience to Xinet Portal for the first time. I'm going to show you how this looks, and I'm going to show you some use cases. There's also a long list of usability enhancements that we've put in Xinet Portal, and we're going to cover every single one of those in a few minutes. We're also going to talk about upgrades in Xinet 19 to make us stay compatible with all the changes around us, changes of supporting newer macOS clients, Adobe, Solar updates, browsers, and things like that. And then there's more smaller enhancements. And if we have time, we can talk about those as well. Okay, SAML2 file sharing is the first big feature that I want to introduce to you. We've added support for SAML2 file sharing to support modern Mac and Windows clients. And as probably most of you know, Apple has announced to deprecate the AFP protocol. I think it was in 2013. I hope I'm not wrong. But they haven't fully finalized this step, and we know it's just going to be a matter of time when Apple will turn off support for their proprietary protocol in favor of their own SMB implementation. We are not going to deprecate AFP anytime soon. Instead, we're going to add support for SAML2 file sharing to Xinet, and it's going to be available next to AFP. And I'm really proud and happy to say that the way we've implemented it is really smooth. There's no admin overhead. We've made it really easy and transparent for you to transition over to also share your files over SAML2. So all your existing AFP volumes and all your settings are all transparently going to be merged into the SAML2 world. There's nothing you have to do other than installing Xinet 19. So this has been a lot of work for our engineers, as AFP and now SAML2 lives at the core of our product. But it's also so there's you're going with the future technology, but it's also we're addressing real life issues here. So there have been really problems with directory enumeration in AFP. The AFP client constantly enumerated directories and asked for file attributes. I think this is happening every 30 seconds, something like that, which in some cases, depending on your directory structure and the amount of files you had stored in your directories, was causing issues and slowdowns. So this behavior does not exist in SMB land on the client side, and now with Xinet 19 we can support this on the server side. A few words in terms of implementation. We're using the SMB protocol stack provided by the Samba team. We're supporting out-of-the-box Samba on Red Hat and CentOS Linux. Currently for the Red Hat and CentOS 7.0, 7.1, and 7.2. This is it is Samba version 4.4.10, I believe. And with the upcoming and latest release of Red Hat 7.3, there's a new Samba release 4.4.4, and we've just a few days ago added support for that as well. So once we hit the release date of Xinet 19, we'll have support for Red Hat 7.3, including SMB2, to support Apple's SMB client implementation. A few things I want to announce that are slightly related, that are related to SMB file sharing, probably mostly interesting for existing users. We're moving towards a newer or an updated licensing model. And it's like a two-step approach. The first step is we're going to merge our existing AFP client seats to new user packages. And so what this table shows is, if you currently have a Xinet 6-user license, you'll get 26 user, meaning 6 AFP users. We're going to give you 25 AFP users for free. So those are the new user packs here on the right-hand side. Let's say a 64-user license will turn into a 100 AFP user license. This is just to make it simpler for us. We wanted to get rid of those old user counts and simplify things. And I'm going to show you how this is relevant for the SMB2 land on the next slide. So here's the current or the new Xinet 19 AFP user packs. And with those user packages, you'll also get additional SMB2 users. And I'm going to explain you why it is this and why I'm explaining this. So the current Xinet licenses are based on AFP user license seats. So we count concurrent logged-in Mac clients. And because of Samba and its GPL license, we cannot apply this model to the SMB world. So instead, we've decided to add named users. And the difference, for those of you who don't know what, I'm not aware of what the differences are, concurrent users means independent of the username, we really just count the number of logins. This can be any username, as long as it's not more than 25 users. Logged in at the same time, we're okay. For named users, it's really the number of enabled user accounts. So it's really the usernames that make the difference. So, and in order to make this transition really smooth and easy for you, we're merging you over to, let's say, a 50-user AFP license, and you'll get 100 SMB2 users on top of that. And you can use AFP and SMB2 in parallel, not a problem. This is free of charge at no cost. And of course, this unrelated to those changes, our web users are still unlimited. SMB2 file sharing in Xinet. Xinet's built-in file services still are relevant, allow you very easy and very, very fast access to your assets. I think it's especially relevant if you think of growing file sizes, think of 4K videos, and I'm convinced and I'm really confident to say that there is no better and more efficient way to share files in a team, especially if you think of production environments. You're investing in your company's future. We've seen the focus on the SMB2 client side, on the Mac client side since a while now. Apple is defaulting to use SMB2 since Mavericks 10.9. And it's clear that SMB2 or SMB became the de facto standard for file sharing protocols. And with Xinet 19, we allow you to participate in that future. We also make it extremely transparent for you to transition over from AFP to SMB2, and with that I don't mean turning off AFP. It's really just enabling to turn on SMB2 in addition to AFP. As I mentioned earlier, there's no administration required, other than you have to enable users to be SMB users. And I'm going to quickly show you how this works. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to show how you connect to a server. This is just the usual Mac connect to server account. I'm going to connect to my demo box here over AFP. This is what you guys have been doing all along. And this is how you log in as a user account, and here's my volume. And on the volume I have some demo files and folders, and of course we still have this built in. And now I'm going to show you how you can specify the protocol here. Again, since OS 10.10.9, I think Apple is defaulting to SMB. So if you don't specify any protocols, you can try it right now. You'll see the Mac will use SMB to connect to the server. And here is my login. I've enabled my demo user to be an SMB user, so this would take up one SMB2 or SMB user license. And here is transparently merged over the list of AFP AppleShare volumes into the SMB world. And I'm going to mount my volume. And here's my volume, and browse to the volume and see files and in the right directories, and it's all pretty smooth. And I'm also really happy to say and announce that all our client plugins, so all the Adobe InDesign plugins like Picture Wrangler and all those things works smoothly and transparently with SMB2 as well. I also wanted to quickly show how to turn on or how to enable users. So I'm logging in to my native admin user interface, and I will go to my users tab, and in the users tab we have a new checkbox. So this is for my demo user. Here's all the normal user settings, and we've added this new checkbox here to enable access to SMB volumes for that user. If I'm going to create a new user, I'm just quickly doing this for you. I'll do this. And the one thing you have to be careful is, as Samba requires has its own user list, you need to make sure that those usernames that you will enable for SMB are system users, right? And you'll get a warning here that says, user needs to become a system user before you can turn it into an SMB user. So I'm just going to quickly show that a new user has been enabled and is available to access my SMB volumes. Oops, sorry, I was still logged on. I'm using a two-screen setup here, so here's my volume. I'm going to unmount this volume now and re-log in. Sorry for that. Okay, already forgot my password. Let's try that. Okay, here we go. And it's pretty smooth and pretty simple to do. No new setups. We just transition over your existing AFP volumes. All you need to do is you need to make sure that you have system users, and you can use native admin user tab interface to enable those users for SMB use. Okay. To the next topic, SAML2 Single-Sign-On. This is also a very big and also complicated subject. I'm going to try to explain this to you. I'm not going to go into the details. I think we don't have enough time to do this, to cover this. I've added this diagram to my deck, and I'm just going to quickly say a few words about it and also show you what the benefits are and what it means to you and your clients. So SAML means Security Assertion Markup Language. It's an XML-based standard for web browser single sign-on. It's really just a standard on how those digital tokens for authentication get exchanged. Again, SAML uses digital tokens to exchange authentication and authorization between the identity provider and the service provider. So what those are, there are three main parties in this setup. So there's the users, there's the service providers. Service providers, in this case, is Xinet. It's actually a portal site. A portal site acts as a service provider for those of you who are familiar with the subject. And those are just other random apps. I've just made project management, Google, Salesforce, and those could be all kinds of applications. And the identity provider. So those are the three main things. Again, it's a complicated subject. I'm not going to go into the details, but I do want to give you a brief, non-technical explanation of what it is. And I think it's pretty easy if you think of Google. Think of your Google apps, right? So your Google apps like Gmail, Calendar, Google Docs, Google Drive, and so on, they're all service providers. They're all applications, and they provide services to you as a user. Google in this example also acts as an identity provider. The identity provider is basically your user list or user database. It stores identity profiles and controls access to what apps you get access to. And so going back to our Google example, I'm sure you have noticed that once you're logged into Google once, you no longer need to log into any of the other apps, right? Once you're logged into Gmail, you immediately have access to your calendar and Google Drive and all those things. This is exactly what this is. This is exactly what SAML2 Single-Sign-On is. And by adding SAML2 Single-Sign-On support to Xinet, you could enable Xinet to act, or you can enable Xinet to act as a service provider in that SSO environment, and as a matter of fact, we've tried to use Google in our testing as identity provider, and we've added Xinet portal sites to the realm. And once you're logged in with your Google accounts, you will get access to your Xinet without having to relog in again. There's not a lot I can show you. I can show you a test site that we've been using, so I should quickly try this. So if I go to, let's see if that works. If I go to, right, so now I'm logged in already. I'll sign out. All right, so here's my Google page. This is German because Google knows I'm in Germany, of course, but please just ignore this for now. I'm going to log in to my Google account. So my Google account, and this was not planned. I don't know why this happened now. No. I need to add up on this side. Okay. This G Suite is like a new app starting page that Google has. And so here's all my apps, right? Here's my Gmail account. I can quickly share my mails with you. So this is my actual real company account here. And there's my Google Drive and Docs and and all the apps that I have access to. And then we've added Xinet. So somebody is using the old logo, but here's the Xinet tests. So there's a pilot site that acts as a service provider, a portal site, and Xinet itself. So now if I click on to that portal site, I should be transferred over, or end up in that portal site without having to relog in again. Oops. Let me try again. Again, this is just a test site. This is not set up for a demo or anything. So here we go. Logged into portal. Google, as an identity provider, has granted or has basically told the portal site to let me in without having to ask for a password. Okay, so I hope this made sense to you. We spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to implement this and to make this happen and add this to Xinet 19. Maybe I can quickly run you through this diagram just because I have it, but you as a user, you're accessing Xinet or Xinet portal. Portal knows it, it's not set up to authenticate you, or the backend is not set up to authenticate you, and it basically delegates your authentication to the IDP, to the identity provider. Identity provider authenticates the user, creates a SAML assertion, I think it's called, a response, to tell the service provider, the application, this user is okay to log in, and then the user gets logged in. SAML2, as a summary, SAML2 SSO support in Xinet enables your Xinet portal site to become a service provider in the SSO environment. It allows you to easier integrate Xinet into existing environments. I think this is really important. This is one of the most important reasons why we've implemented it. It becomes more and more relevant, more and more important to make it as easy as possible to integrate your software pieces with others. And this is one big and very important step to accomplish that. For your users, this is either you or your clients. It's going to be a much smoother user experience. You can also, if you think about it, your clients will also not just have your Xinet portal login, they'll also have 10 other applications that they'll use every day. And if you can make Xinet part of that SSO environment, once they're logged in, they no longer have to authenticate against Xinet in addition to that. In the end, it means for your and your organization higher security. There's only one place where user credentials are stored. There's no need to synchronize user accounts. It's the IDP takes care of managing users, which of course also reduces risks and reduces costs in administering your server. Okay, third big topic or big feature in Xinet 19, facet view on top level or top level facets. Here's a mock-up. I'm going to show you live how this looks like. A new browsing experience. For those of you who are existing clients, you know that Xinet has always been a digital asset management system that mirrored the file system to the database. The web application would, through the API, talk to the database and present data in the browser. And we've re-implemented a feature that's been around for some time. It's called top-level facets. We've just implemented it differently this time. And we've looked at most consumer sites, most storefront sites, how they present data. And we've come up with a way to present data in Xinet that is completely disconnected from the file system for the first time. And the idea is really to build true consumer sites. It's not meant as a work in progress site. It's really just this is how you present data. You can share files, download files. It's a really static approach, and of course it's just an option. You don't have to use it. It's just a side option. Try it out. I think it's pretty cool, and I can quickly show you how this looks. I've made a new site. I've called it Gallery. It's not a new theme or anything. It's just how I've named it. And here's our new marquee login, by the way. And I'm going to use a user. It's called TFL, top level facets. I'll try this one more time. Sorry for that. What's going on? Okay. I'm going to close the browser quickly. I can try another user. Okay, I try another user. It's not really what I had planned to demo, but I think it still shows you, explains the idea of what we had. So you log in into top level, and I don't know, for those of you who know Xinet, probably remember that we present you the user volumes in top level. It's basically a folder, the top level of your share, whatever the administrator allowed you to see in the web. And in this case, we've bypassed or we've eliminated that step. And what we do is we present you with metadata fields. So all those fields are metadata fields. I had set up something more meaningful for my other user, but we'll try later on maybe one more time. But here's metadata fields, right? And all those items here, all those previews you see are the values. So maybe if we go here, job number is one of my fields, and here are the values. Here's all the possible values that I have, and the previews you see are really, taken from the actual, database or from the actual query. So we just take the first image that we have under this field. So whatever job number, whatever file has job number, whatever 2016 94 15 900 is gonna be behind this image stack. This is all customizable, by the way. We've set this up so that you can come up with your own images, right? So that image stack here, by the way, is just CSS, so of course you can change that as well. The images are automatically pulled out of the database and stored in the local portal cache. You can also create a text file and add your own images, images files to a metadata value pair. Okay, so for example, if you wanted a new or a custom image for job name, whatever, backbar brochure, right, you could add this image here. Okay, so once I click here, I end up in my normal portal browse view. In this case, of course, I've turned off all options to see anything, any folder or anything file system related. Okay, so there's no file system navigator anymore. There is no breadcrumbs bar. Like everything that has any indication on the file system is removed in this mode. So now I've already selected a metadata value pair, right? It's my first filter that I've just selected. And then I can go on and say, I don't know, maybe I'm only interested in, or I want to add all files with that job number, right? And then maybe out of that selection that I'm seeing now, I don't know, I'm only interested in to see JPEGs. And this is like how I can browse using just metadata without any file system access inside it. This is what we've, when you remove all the filters, you end up in top level again. Actually, let me try again with the other user because I think it had a more meaningful setup. Here we go. Okay, so here's like a consumer site, bike, where it has all those field values, sports, climb, camp, snow, and so on. And then under this category, here's my subcategories. And I'm also going to show you quickly how this looks on a file system. And it doesn't matter actually how you've organized those files in a file system. You could, and just because we can and we have a file system to share, you could also mimic a folder structure with that as well. Let me quickly show you what I've done. You don't have to, right? All those files can come out of one big bucket, and this is all just metadata. It doesn't really matter where those files come from. But again, you also have. So here's my folder that I've used, right? Here's outdoor assets. And here's all the subcategories: bike, sports, climb, camp, snow. This is what I have here. If I go into sports, I have my subcategories: climbing, mountain bike, paddling, skateboarding, skiing, and this is what I have here. They're completely unrelated, right? Those are just data field values, and they have nothing to do with the folder, but I've just organized them so that it's more convenient and makes sense for me. You don't have to do this, right? All those files can just come out of one big bucket. Okay, so I hope this made sense. I'm gonna look out again. I'll switch quickly back to my demo. Next big topic is business rule filters. We've introduced business rule filters in the 18.1 release earlier this year in 18.1. We've released it in March, and business rule filters are, for those of you who don't know what it is, are an easy way to hide assets for a specific user or a specific group by matching asset properties. And those asset properties could be file name or folder names or metadata values. And I can also then limit those filters on specific paths and make them recursive and so on. So there's a wide range of options that we have. I will probably not go into the details now here. With Xinet 19, we will have a new admin user interface to configure those filters. Up until now, you needed to configure those filters in a text file, which worked totally fine. It's just a little bit cumbersome to do it, and we've added a new tab to native admin to configure those business rules. It's following the pattern that we've used all along. So what you see here is a mock-up, right? So this is still a work in progress. We're still working on this. I can, so you believe me, I can show you a quick look into native admin. We have started to work on this. This is how it's going to look like. Just quickly jump in here. Here is the native admin interface, and under database, there's a new filters tab. For now, we have the summary page. Those add filter, edit filter pages are not working as of now. Of course, and I'm sure you're aware, we have not released Xinet 19 yet. So what I'm using here is a beta, and we will have this ready for the release. Okay. I think this is really important and really big as well. I think it'll also make this feature available to a wider range of users, right? For all of those users who cannot edit text files and who are not geeky enough to do this or to accomplish that. A nice interface where you can set up a filter, you give it a name, you can apply it to you select your group. Add groups, you can set the the match, the filter match, and what we call prerequisites are further limitations, so you can make the filter active only on a certain path or under a certain directory level, and things like that. Enhanced business rule filters. We've also added other features and enhancements in Xinet 19. So number one, of course, the admin user interface. I think it's really big. Business rule filters work across the server. What this means is we needed to add a limitation earlier this year for the baskets, and this is why we did not allow folders in the baskets. We've removed this limitation, so filters work across the entire server. You can add folders to the basket. For the basket plugins, if they want to read the basket file or access files, we're going to automatically run those basket contents through the filter engine, and give you access to only the files you should have access to. A few smaller things, small but with big impact. We've added a recursive option to the prerequisites. So now you can say, if you limit a filter to a path, you can make this filter recursive, all the way down, starting at this path, or just work on this level. And we've also added an option to hide null values. So, you know, for example, I don't know if some approval status field is not set, for example, we'll automatically hide all files. Or if somebody uploads files to the system and some field is not set, you can set a filter to automatically hide those files. Okay, user experience. So you might have noticed that we have put a lot of work into the marquee site. We're constantly working on improving it, on making it more convenient, more, you know, adding more features out of the box, requiring you not to customize any site anymore. We're trying to add as much features out of the box as possible. And I'm gonna run you through those. There's actually 8 features in like 2 blocks. And we're going to look at that first block here. We're gonna talk about multiple values in one facet block. We've re-implemented sorting. We've extended list view. And we've added an option to configure real estate. And I will show you what those mean, what I mean with those. Multiple values in one facet block. Okay, and this is really, we've looked at the big sites. We've looked at how Amazon does it, how eBay does it, and we've learned that, let me just find a better spot here, maybe this one. We've learned that, so here's my, here's all my files here, and here's my filters. Here's my file navigator. I'm gonna hide this now. But for example, what you can do now is you can have multiple values for one field. So let's say I'm interested in filtering the content area here to only show all the assets that have a approval status of approved. What I do, I'm going to limit my files. But let's say I'm also interested in the ones that are set to review needed. All right. So this is basically adding ORs. Show me all assets that have approval status approved or review needed, and maybe only the one that's rejected. Okay. And we've also made this visible by adding all those values into one block, so you're aware that this all belongs to one field. So if I go ahead now and add another filter from a different field, this is going to add an end to a logical end to that query, and this is going to trim down that content selection here. So, for example, I don't know, let's say I'm only interested in the ones that are JPEGs. Okay? So what this means here, it shows, approval status, show me everything that's rejected or review needed or approved, but it also needs to be a JPEG, and this is what I have. Multiple values in one facet block. All right, let's just remove this. We've re-implemented sorting. We've had sorting in, I'll just hide this quickly. We've re-implemented sorting in, we've had sorting in Exhibit. It's not been around in Marquee for a long time. We've re-implemented it here. We've added this new panel. There is sorting, so you can sort on a few items that come out of the box, and then those are your browsable metadata fields. There's also the option to sort ascending and descending, and this icon also lets you control view from short view to list view. Okay, so I can say, for example, I'm doing this ascending and descending. Really, is that working? Maybe it might not be working. Last modified, I can sort this, right? This is really triggering Solar to do the sorting for me. And then I can also, of course, sort on, the configurable fields, my data fields that I've set up. I'm just going to quickly show you those fields. Right, so all the fields that are available here in browser mode are also available for sorting. if I'm, let's just add them quickly. If I do a search, it's a good search. Just going to do something with a big result list. If I search on JPEGs, for search results, so there's 290 matches for search results. I will also, I get the option to sort on relevance, and relevance is, the solar relevance, the solar weighting sorting. Okay, so then let me quickly switch to list view, just because it's in this control element here. We've reworked list view. We've added a little thumbnail here. Actually, let's just go back to browse. Okay, so we've added a little thumbnail, so at least you have some idea of what those images are, instead of just having an image icon. File name, obviously, and then we've added all the fields that were sortable or that were browsable and into columns, and so that's like this independent list, and you can sort on columns. So if I wanted to see approval status, I think this could be actually really, really useful for, if you think of like a digital, job board or job bag, right? Depending on how you set things up, but for approval status, it's quite convenient to see the status in this long list, and then based on approval status, you can, I don't know, use design contextual menu or something to work on those files. And then you can also adjust what you see here in list view. So you can, let's say you're not interested at all in modify date, and you're not interested in seeing a job name because it's empty, right? You can remove those columns, and if you want to re-add them, you can click on this, show all columns button, and it'll add all columns back to your view. I'm pretty excited about this. This is all stored in the cookie, so once you've selected this view, it sticks. And I can, if I want to, I can, just stick with list view, and I can browse the server, flip through directories and file names and things just like that. Right, we've also added an option to, I've named it configure real estate. I wasn't sure if this is the right terminology, but I'll explain you quickly what I meant with this. So here's your, there's like this top bar that has all the, major main controls. It has, upload options, advanced search options, our quick search bar, all those controls here. And then on the left-hand side, there's the filter and navigation panel. Okay, and we've started to add an option here to remove this left panel, just to make better use of your real estate. And we've extended that feature to also make a better use of the, if your entire screen. It's not as relevant if you're on a big screen, but I think if you're on a smaller laptop, this actually does become relevant. And I think, I did want to make our interface usable, even on smaller screens. And this is one of the things that we've implemented. So you do extend the area that we've reserved for the actual content. And they work independently of each other, right? All those controls, by the way, also work in Xinet Pilot. I'm going to cover that in a quick minute. So let's go to the, just quickly review this, multiple facets, re-implement sorting, extended list view, and the option to hide that at the main top bar. The second block is we've added a share asset feature to point to single assets, so we are automatically dynamically creating links and have implemented an option to copy that link to a clipboard, so you can quickly share assets and use a link, copy it to a chat window, and point your stakeholders to that asset. We've also added a light theme to Xinet Pilot. There's this theme switcher now in Pilot that allows you to, either work with the dark interface or with a lighter interface. We've added a way to create batch email upload reports. It's actually probably not the perfect description of the feature. Really what we've done is we've added a way to trigger a single action based on a aggregated upload, right? So you can upload, I don't know, 50 files, and then, for example, trigger one email, or, upload 50 files and get one trigger to move all those files into a different path, instead of having one trigger per uploaded item. And that's a new event that we've created called aggregated upload. And I'm going to show you quickly how you can use it. And we've also added volume paths in search results. So let's just go through this. Let me log out here. And actually, just do this. Sorry for that. So the share asset feature is a volume option. So you can configure it per user and path. Okay, so you can turn on or off this volume based on that. And here it is. It's a new button that pops up or shows up. It's called Get Shareable Link. If you click on it, we create this shareable link. You can click on this copy to clipboard icon, and then the system will copy the link to a clipboard. And I don't have the chat window. Is probably a good idea to do this, but I'm also going to quickly open my email and show you how this looks. Right. So here's the link that we've created. If somebody receives that link and adds the link to a browser, just mimicking this quickly. Here it is. It points directly to that image and will open up our detailed view modal to give you access to all the relevant information. Pretty cool, I think. Again, this is an option. You can turn this on and off per user and volume. So now I want to switch to Pilot. Here we go. Xinet Pilot. There's a new version of Xinet Pilot. One of the things that we've done is we have added support so that you no longer need to know the exact URL to point to the pilot site. It's enough to just type in the email address, the IP address, and Pilot will fill in the rest as needed. I'll quickly log in here. So here's your Pilot site. Just going to stick with the folder I've been using. So here's Pilot, right? See how nice and simple it is, and it's also responsive. I'm going to cover this in a second. So here's the dark view that we've always had. Here's the navigator. If you click on an image, we open up that metadata panel. And based on customer feedback, we've heard that it becomes quite inconvenient to look at this screen if you work on it on a daily basis. So we've added this theme switcher, and now you can add or you can switch to a lighter theme. No influence on functionality. It just looks lighter. It really depends on your personal flavor. We've added this. I think all those controls are actually all available to Pilot as well, right? So those links and everything, really we've talked about. Okay, so.
Timo, this is Jason. Just a warning, we are at 11:50 a.m. my time, 10 minutes before the hour.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks. All right. At a live theme, I wanted to show you the batch upload report or the aggregated file events. And I think I might want to do this in Marquee. Doesn't really matter, but Here's an upload area. I'm going to upload. I'm going to pick a few files. How about those? Oops. I can also drag and drop if I wanted to. I haven't done this now. Just going to give this some unrealistic job number and job name. I'll upload those files. And now actually I've set up my server to really send email to my Gmail account. Let's see. It's going to take a while. Here it is. So there's my upload report. Okay, so this is just what I've done. It's a HTML email for the aggregated upload. We've used the email action architecture, and we've added a new template tag, right? It's a for each tag that allows you, you set up the, you style the email once for one asset, and then, we like loop through the array of uploaded data and present it this way. So we've created all the thumbnails, put all the thumbnails in the email with access to all the metadata, file names, a username, and things like that. In this case, just a quick example, depending on how your workflow is set up, of course, you can also create those dynamic links. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but you can create those links, and if you click on the View Asset in Portal, for example, it takes you directly to that asset on your portal box. Right? Pretty cool. And then if you have your server mounted, it can also take you directly to the, or open the file directly from the email if you wanted to. Right, so let's say you've received this email, confirmation email. I can click on this open asset on disk, click on it. Maybe this is not fully working for SMB. That's okay. Probably need an AFP volume, but this is what this the new aggregated upload is about. Anyways, okay. Let's just go on. I think we're having time issues a little bit. I do want to definitely cover third-party software integration. So you know that Xinet is always living in the middle of your workflow and your IT infrastructure. We need to take care of being compatible with all the changing software around us, all the Adobe upgrades, all the OS X upgrades, all the browsers and things like that. And for Xinet 19, we've added this list of upgrades. So we've added support for macOS Sierra 10.12, which is the current macOS. Just came out. Adobe CC 2017 just came out a few weeks ago. We've actually just released our plugins yesterday for Xinet, for Adobe CC 2017 InDesign. We've also updated Solar Search, our Solar Search platform to 6.2.1. To improve performance, increase stability. This is all stuff that's kind of our homework that we're doing for all the releases. We've also added support for Chrome browsers, and we've added support for Chrome, deprecating support for Firefox. And the reason is we've looked at statistics and noticed that Chrome keeps growing everywhere and Firefox keeps losing market share, and so we've decided to, move to Chrome. We've also added, I don't think I've shown it. We've also added our Xinet contextual menu browser plugin to Chrome. It's available through the Chrome Web Store. Our Adobe plugins for Windows are also available via the Adobe add-on store. For one more thing that's super important here. Can't forget. So please stay connected. We've re-implemented drag and drop support from web browsers. Okay, so you can drag and drop files from Xinet Pilot. That's been the case since a long time. But we re-added support for drag and drop from web browsers into InDesign. And I do want to take the last few minutes to actually show this to you. This works locally and remotely, so I should be okay. I'm going to launch InDesign 2017. Here we go. I'll create a new document here. Okay. And some files. I'm not going to spend a lot of time designing a page now, but I think you'll get the idea. And by the way, of course, this is not a problem to make this work with JPEGs and PNGs and simple files. We do take care, and we have a long experience and knowledge about making all those things work. With real files. We're talking about Photoshop files with multiple layers, clipping paths, overprint settings and things like that. So this actually works in reality, and maybe this is how it goes. Right, let's take this guy. So this is remotely, right? This is, the Xinet server is in, Jason's office, let's say, and I'm connected from Munich, and I have absolutely no mount volumes or anything. I'm completely, connected from the outside world. Save this document, remote document. Let's say save it in my desktop, and then, I could use a standard web browser, or just for the fun of it, I'm going to use Xinet Pilot to upload my data. Wow! Where's that file? I should have saved it on the desktop, so I find it. Here it is. And if I want to re-upload this file, all I need to do is log in to my Pilot, hit upload, drag and drop my InDesign document here, enter my job number. I'm not going to do this now, and upload the file, and that's it. It's as simple as that. The file is here. Right, available. Jason will get a notification. Here's, Timo uploaded the InDesign document from Munich, and then he'll get a link and click on that link, and just view that InDesign document. Looks like we're not done with creating previews, but it's just going to be a matter of time. And all the links are going to be available to Jason.
That's a great feature, Timo. Thanks so much. I like it.
All right. Yeah, I think I have a quick list of further smaller enhancements, and since we're running out of time, I'm just going to read them quickly to you. I think they're important, although small. We've removed the 2 GB upload limit, so we've done everything that we can do on our side to remove that limit. There are still limitations due to browser versions and PHP versions. There's a tech note, so talk to us, ask us. We can give you information about exactly how to eliminate those limits. We've removed a lot of the legacy code, so all of the AppleTalk stuff is gone. We've removed any of the FlashNet stuff. Anything that we don't need anymore, we've removed just to make the product slimmer. We've added archiving support for Portal AI. We have added a way to temporarily disable users in native admin. So there's a new checkbox to disable users without removing users. Default icons are configurable. There's a new icon admin command that allows you to configure those, icons, what you see when we can't create a preview or some of the files that we don't support. There's a new API call to ask for watermarked web previews. And we have added a list to our preview generation daemon to prevent preview generation for a suffix list. Cool. Yeah, that's it. I hope you're as excited as I was. I think it's going to be a really important, great release in mid-December. Things look good. And yeah, if there's any questions or anything you need more information about, email us at xinet19@northplains.com.
Great job, Timo. Thank you so much. And I think there's probably a lot of very excited people out there after seeing a lot of the new innovations coming in Xinet 19. So I, for one, am very excited. I think others will be too. So just a reminder to everybody that the questions can be sent to xinet19@northplains.com, as well as I wanted to let everybody know that we will have a recorded webinar on the northplains.com homepage tomorrow, and we'll put links on our social media pages as well. So for Timo Faber and the rest of the Xinet team at North Plains, we thank you for your participation and have a great day. Thank you. Jim, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Have we stopped broadcasting?
I'm stomping it right.
I actually think we're still on, Jana.